All right, we are 24 hours post-fight, Canelo versus Bud, and you guessed it, I was right. I picked right. If you go back to my previous video, there was some guy on there. I guess he's a new subscriber, so shout out to him. But there's a guy on there who says you were right, and then he asked me to pick the winner of the Jets Buffalo. So I'm sorry, man. I don't do NFL prognostications, but it leads me to my first talking point, which is how did I know? One, again, I'm an amateur boxer. I watch boxing. My favorite or second favorite sport next to basketball. People were just, I don't think enough people that were doing the prognosticating really had watched Bud throughout his career, really understood how good he was at the sport of boxing. And I think they overstated because Canelo had, had his way with Caleb Plant. I like Caleb. Same with Charlo. He kind of punished him early, and then they got on their bike and they kind of ran around the ring and tried to make it to the end. And Teddy Atlas actually said that in his now. I think it was Teddy Atlas, or maybe it was I forget the boxer's name. I want to say Tim, but maybe it was I forget his last name. You guys know him. Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley said that a lot of guys get in there with Canelo and then they get hit and then they realize like let me just make it to the end without getting embarrassed, and so they just run around the ring. I knew that wasn't Bud. Again, one I said in my previous video, he had legacy to protect. Like Bud wanted to make his name. He's 38 this December. He realized that, in the eyes of most of the boxing populace, he wasn't considered top tier because he hadn't had, big marquee fights. And so he had more to lose. I said that yesterday, and I think that motivation helped. When I saw them face off, I realized the size disparity wasn't as big as people were making it. They were looking at the old 144 Bud, not realizing that pound by pound over the last 6 months he had been increasing his weight, right? And he did it the right way. He didn't try to, put on 15 pounds, in a couple months. He probably had a trainer and a dietitian, and he had a plan in place over the last 6 months to get from 144, 145 up to 167, and it worked. He looked light on his feet. He looked like the Bud of the last 10 years. You could see he had the big padded gloves on. Canelo had the fighter's gloves or the hitter's gloves on, but he did that for a reason, right? He wanted to make sure he could protect himself and wasn't looking to knock out Bud. When I saw the difference in glove size or glove formation, I realized what his strategy was, which was he had planned to go 12. He wasn't trying to knock Canelo out. Was pleasantly surprised to watch him bang it out as the fight went on. And he realized that he could get Canelo, he could tag Canelo, and Canelo could tag him. Bud was more willing to stand in there in the pocket and throw with Canelo, and that was surprising. Fun to watch. Not expected, but fun to watch. But yeah, he was a tactician. I texted with my brother after the fight, and the word he used was tactician, and I think that's apt. I think what we saw was just supreme tactics, supreme skill. Canelo coming in with that high guard and that looping right, which has worked for him. And I said, shout out to Canelo for even giving Bud this fight. Canelo's a warrior, but I think he got a little frustrated with that. Again, that high guard just coming forward. He was walking him down. He was definitely walking him down, but Bud can fight off his back foot. Bud had no problem fighting off his back foot. So... and then Bud is quick on his feet, and then Bud's footwork is just incredibly superior. So anytime Canelo was able to walk him down and get him, in the corner, Bud could cover up, give some shots, pivot out, and then Canelo's got to start all over again, trying to get Bud locked down. So quick note on belts, you guys, because I saw this in some of the interviews and some of the comments. Yes, those are Canelo's belts. He gives those belts to Bud. Bud does all the press, puts them out in front of him in the press conference, and it's a ceremonial kind of handing over of belts. But those are Canelo's belts. People were asking, why did Bud give the belts back to Canelo after the press conference? and it's because those are Canelo's belts, and then all the boxing associations will send Bud his own belts. Things I didn't expect. I did not expect to see Mr. Beast sitting next to Jason Statham, so that was kind of odd. Also saw Mark Wahlberg there. I know he's a fight fan, but yeah, seeing Mr. Beast front row, and then seeing Mr. Beast get tagged by Mike Tyson was surprising. Although Tyson pulled his punches, I thought that was a pretty good bit.